Welcome to an unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. I'm Grant. Today I'm taking a look at my new copy of Fort Sumter, The Secession Crisis, 1860 to 1861, which is from GMT Games and designed by Mark Herman. You can see that here, game designed by Mark Herman. This is a brand new game off the P500. In fact, it started shipping on May the 22nd. Here it is early June, actually mid-June, and I got my copy earlier this week. I've just not had an opportunity to unbox it. So I am unboxing it because Alexander and I are going to play it tonight before we go off to Origins Gaming Convention in Columbus, Ohio tomorrow. So I wanted to go ahead and open this up and show you what's in it. You will notice that it is a card-driven game. So it is not necessarily a war game. It is a card-driven game which facilitates historical events and different actions, and sometimes they are war games, but this game isn't necessarily a war game. It is the events. It's a game that focuses on the events up to the start of the American Civil War. In fact, the war started with the bombardment of Fort Sumter in, I think it was April the 12th and 13th of 1861, after the southern states voted to secede from the Union, I think in December 20th of 1860. So several months worth of events lead up to the bombardment of Fort Sumter and then the start of hostilities. So this game is going to cover that. It's going to have two players fight each other in essence for control of various elements. And we're gonna really take a quick look at that. This is not a rules video. It is just an unboxing, but I will kind of give a very quick look at the rules. The first thing I wanted to show you is this box is really tiny. It is a 3-inch box, so it's one of their bigger, thicker boxes, but it's really small. I kind of like it. It's a small, very small game, designed to be played in, I think, 20 to 30 minutes, and it uses cards to drive the action. Very nice looking box. Kudos to Roger McGowan and his team as they do the art for GMT Games. The box is really tight fitting. Let's see if I can get this out without destroying the box. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and put the cover over there. Really nice looking cover. So the first thing we're gonna look at here is the rules of play, full color rule book. And I'm telling you, this rule book is not very big. And it actually has a lot of color examples, big examples of cards, how to use those cards, talks about the scoring, and then there's this special final crisis round that we'll cover just briefly. So yeah, the rule book you can see is 8 pages. So this is a very small game, simple. Here is the sequence of actions. So, and I think that's printed on the board as well to make it as simple as possible to play. Really, this game is designed as a quick conflict between two players using the card-driven game system. So there you go. There's a look at the rules itself. And then here's a playbook. This is much thicker. This is about 20, looks like it's 28 pages. And it's going to give you examples, illustrated examples of play. So it's going to take you, my guess is through all 3 rounds of the game and leading up to the final crisis round. That would be my guess. There's a look at the board. We'll get a closer look of the real board here in a moment. But this is an example of play. If you read through this, you're going to get this game in, get it very quickly. In fact, I think you can read the rules and get it very quickly. But what you're doing is you're fighting for control of certain areas on the board, which represent certain elements. We'll talk about those in a minute, and you're using cards and cubes. And then this, so what this is, sorry. So there's some historical notes here, and these are always great. You can read up on that and learn something about the secession crisis. But here's a look at all the different strategy cards that you're going to use. There are also objective cards. We'll talk about those here in just a moment. But yeah, you can get a look at all of those cards, which is pretty cool. Here's also some designer notes and strategy tips, which is very nice. So there's a lot of elements in this game that's going to lend itself to you learning a lot about this crisis. So there's that. So here's the game board. It comes in a nifty Ziploc bag. I typically recycle these bags once I open them. This one is sized enough that I might keep it. I don't know what I'm going to store in it, but I'll put it over here, get it out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and open the board. And once again, I said the board is very, very small. Which is cool. And actually the board, I'm going to turn it right side up so you can get a really good look at that. I'm going to have to try to flatten that out before we play. So yeah, you can see the board is a look at the eastern seaboard and the basically Midwest of the United States of America in 1860. You can see here is Texas on the left. You got to remember this is a time where new states that were admitted to the Union were admitted, and then there was argument and disagreement over whether they would be a free state or a slave state. So that's one of those things. I think the border states here is one of the topics you're going to be fighting over. So yeah, look at the map. Very nice looking map. Use of some really neat colors. They're colors that represent the different levels that lead you towards the final crisis area. I like it. I like the use of the map behind these areas, which is really kind of cool. So yeah, nice looking map. I like it a lot. In the box, really there's not a lot. Here you have a bunch of cubes. These are influence cubes. You have some markers that will keep track of your victory points. This is you can see the white meeple there is the Peace Commissioner. And that's going to be deployed at certain times, I believe, when one of these, maybe it's the second area, the tension area, is breached by one player. The other player is going to get the Peace Commissioner. They're going to use that to place it in an area that, in essence, locks that area and doesn't allow any other placement of units or cubes there. Looks like it gave you a second one as a backup, which is always a good thing. But it definitely has some wood. And some nice looking wood. I'll go ahead and put some of those in my hand. But you can see that the wooden cubes are, well, royal blue for the Union and then gray for the secessionist. So you're going to use these. When you play cards, it's going to say put a certain amount of cubes in a certain area or any area. You're going to put those in the area. Your opponent's going to be doing the same thing. I think the only limiting factor is that in any certain space, like this is Fort Pickens, I think you can only have 4 of your color of cubes. So once I have 4 cubes in there, I can no longer place cubes in there. But my opponent, I think, can continue to place. So what you're going to want to do in this instance, you're going to want to either, as the Union, try to place cubes there or play cards or win actions that allow you to move, maybe move cubes from one area to another. So that's a look at those pieces. Once again, it's a card-driven game, so the main action of the game is going to be dictated by the cards. I'm going to go ahead and open those. And if you remember me saying earlier, there are 2 types of cards: strategy cards and objective cards. Each round, the way the game plays, and I'm not going to go into all the rules, so you're going to have to read it, or we'll do a video later on. Each round, players are going to be dealt 4 of these strategy cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're going to be dealt randomly 2 of these objective cards. And what players are going to do is choose from these objective cards one that they're going to keep, one that they will throw away, not throw away, but they will reshuffle that back into the objective card deck. This is a secret objective, so let's say I keep this one. And it is associated with a specific space, the northern state houses, which is right here, the northern state houses. So what it's going to say is, if you played this card and control the northern state house's space, you may remove up to 2 tokens from political or public opinion spaces. So you'll see the colors. Yellow is political, and there are 3 of those, and you'll notice the bells. There's some mnemonic devices there to keep you on track. Public opinion spaces are here, the green, state assemblies, newspapers, and the abolitionist. So yeah, if you kept this as your objective, and at the end, if you control the northern state houses, you're going to be able to remove 2 tokens from political or public opinion spaces. So you could pick certain areas and remove your enemy's influence. So that's what objective cards are. I think you'll also score victory points from them. Maybe it says, let me just look. Maybe the rules say that you score 1 victory point if you do have these areas. But you can see there's one of these objective cards for pretty much all of the different areas represented on the map. Some of these cards are sticking together. But nice looking, simple cards. So there you go. There's objective cards. So what's happening here is each round is going to consist of 3 turns. And players are dealt 3 cards. And I didn't shuffle these, so yeah, I got the 3s on top, which is awesome. But you're going to get 4 cards, and you're going to either play them for the ops value here in the upper left. You'll see that's a 3. And then you'll notice that this event written here is written for either side, either the Unionist or the Secessionist. So I'm going to show you a couple of the other examples. So here's some examples of cards. There you can see on the right, the blue is a Union card and the left is a Secession card. And then they are also associated at the bottom with public opinion with that stripe. So each of these have, here these are armaments. So you're going to, once again, you're going to be drawn 4 of these. And this is a really bad example, guys, sorry. But you're going to play 3 of these cards, either for 3, and you're going to take 3 cubes from these various tracks. So if you're the Secessionist player, you're going to take cubes. You know, you'll line cubes up here. I have a cube that's a little misshapen. It's okay, it gives it character. But if I play this 3 card and ignore the event, I'm going to take 1. Actually, you're going to start at the bottom, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to place those wherever I want. Or I could take the event, which you can see, seizing federal armories, move up to 4 of your tokens from any armament space to your token pool. You will notice here on the bottom of the map, I'll move that up, is an area called a token pool. As you remove, or your items get removed from areas, you're going to place them in the token pool. You are first going to draw from the token pool before you keep drawing up here on the left. And that's important because, once again, once you get into these areas, your opponent is going to get a benefit if you are the first to enter those areas. You're seen as a warmonger, you're seen as too aggressive, so your opponent gets kind of a political victory, and they are going to be able to do some action. I'd mentioned the peace officer, I believe, is the reward for the 2nd level or tension. And you're going to be able to place that and lock a space for the remainder of the turn, or until I think someone else manipulates or moves that peace officer. So that's something you're going to focus on. But that's the cards, so you're going to play them. And you're going to end up playing 3 of your 4 cards, so you're going to play those. And then one of the cards you're going to decide, and you're going to discard that face down at the final crisis cards. And you can see you're going to end up building up 3 of these. There are enough for 3 strategy cards, And then those cards are going to be your hand during the final crisis round. So you will take those cards out. You will then put them in a certain order that you choose. I'm going to try to mix these up because that just doesn't make for a great example. So you're going to put these in any order you wish. So the top card, I'm going to make a public opinion. The next one, I want to make secession. And then the final one, I want to make armament. So you're going to put those down. Your opponent's going to put his down here. And then I think off the top, you're both going to reveal that card at the same time. I think if you reveal the same color card, you are actually both going to lose an influence cube somewhere on the map. I don't know if it's in a public opinion space or if it is anywhere, but you're going to remove that. I believe if it doesn't match your opponent, you're then going to be able to do things, you're going to be able to move some of your tokens around, and that's kind of what the final crisis is. So you're going to spend the game building up your control of the situation, whether it is political, armaments, what are the other, secession, or public opinion. You're going to be building up those to try to win. You're also going to score points based on who controls the most of those of the same type. So of the political, if I would control 2 or 3, I would get a certain amount of victory points. You're going to move your victory point here on the track. And then at the end of the game, the person that has the most victory points is going to win. I believe Fort Sumter, control of Fort Sumter, is a tiebreaker. And I've seen multiple people online. It appears that games end in a tie. Not terribly often, but more often, I don't want to say than not, but it does end like that. So control of Fort Sumter is going to decide victory at the end if you are tied. So there you have it. There's a look at Fort Sumter. Here, I've kind of got some of these cards laid out. You know, GMT Games always does such a fantastic job with these games. Both their playability, their rules are very understandable. I love their games. GMT is probably my favorite publisher. I don't know that that's a secret. I think anybody that watches our stuff understands that. But they do such a great job with their games, and this is another example. It's a different type of game. It is a card-driven game that is intended to be a 20 to 40-minute game. You're going to be able to learn this in 10 to 15 minutes. Setup takes no time at all. You're going to then play it over 20 to 40 minutes. You can even play 2 or 3 times in a night and get fulfilled. I read where somebody has already played. I saw where somebody had already played. I thought it was 40 or 50 times. So Alexander and I tonight, we're going to play at least 2 or 3 times. I would like to. Then I wanted to shoot a video with our first thoughts. And then maybe at some later date, I will walk you through a how to play video. Because once again, it'll be 20 minutes. So I think that's something that's very doable. But there you go, folks. Nice job again to Mark Herman. These games are very well done. Mark is the man and really is the godfather of card-driven games. I've played many of his card-driven games. Fire in the Lake, Washington's War. We love Empire of the Sun. We enjoy Mark Herman games considerably. Pericles is another one that we've enjoyed. Churchill, while not a card-driven game, it does use cards. So he's working on one now, Versailles 1919. So that should be interesting as well. Just really enjoy his designs. They speak to us. Both me and Alexander enjoy them quite a bit. So once again, there's a look at Fort Sumter and the contents of the box. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Also, you can look for, hopefully in the near future, a first thoughts video review. I'd like to do a couple of action points explaining the way it works. And if you know my action points, they are simply rules-driven, situational analysis of certain elements in games. We usually do 2 or 3 per game, trying to explain how they work, and then look for a further written review, excuse me, in the near future. So thanks for watching. I've been Grant for the Player's Aid.